Yes, welcome back to the 67 Hail Hail channel on YouTube with me, Hamish Carton. As you can see, we've got Jackie McNamara and John McGinley with us. Right, we're going to take a wee kind of historical look back at your Celtic career, Jackie, and in more particular the managers that you worked under. So many great names here, I'm looking through them, so we're going to get some of your tales on what made them tick and what made them such great managers at Celtic Football Club. So we'll start with the guy who brought you to Celtic all that time ago, and it was actually Tommy Burns. I didn't realise you were at Celtic for that long, but I guess that just goes to show your kind of the period of time you had at the club, and what a great guy to bring you in.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Tommy was first and foremost a great man. His managers obviously lived and breathed the club. Everybody knows that. But for me, coming in at that time in '95, it was they'd just won the Scottish Cup at the end of May. You know, when they come in, there's a good feeling there. The stadium was, one side to the other across for the main stand. Still had to finish off behind each of the goals and just to be part of it at that time. But Tommy was every day. He emphasised every day had to be, your best. Every passing drill had to be the best. He would go crazy if it was misplaced or a bad touch. He would go crazy. His demands were spot on, and so intense. There's a lot of pressure on him as well. That trying to stop Rangers' dominance at that time when I came in. But I absolutely loved working with him. Loved the football that we played in my first season with him. When I first came in, it's probably the most enjoyable in terms of the football that we played. I think you see most Celtic fans in that time to not win anything that season was incredible. I came in the start of October, and I wasn't on the losing side in the league at all, right through to the end of the season, and we just came up short against a good Rangers side.
Tommy Bunn's obviously a massive figure, and so many people love to hear his stories. Something I've always wondered, obviously a little bit before my time, not to give my age away again, but did he have like a switch? Could he turn Tommy Burns if you got on the wrong side of him?
Oh yeah.
Really?
He could. Yeah. He would, in a good way. I think he was fair, very fair, but he'd have a fantastic sense of humour as well. He'd cut you down and. A few things that he would do. He would. One time we just got the floodlights fitted because he loved training. He would keep training. Just he wouldn't blow the whistle, and we just put the floodlights in at Barrowfield, and we kind of joked that was the gaffer was putting in, so we were training all night as well. But the first training session, I'd crossed the ball, and I was admiring my cross, and I hit one of the floodlights and came down the hill, and I burst my eye open, and I came up, and I was like holding him with the blood coming out my eye and looking for some sympathy, and the gaffer's like, "What are you limping for?" It's like limping up the hill with my first eye. But next day they got the cushions put on the floodlights, so I think that was down to me hitting it.
One of the things I think about Tommy Burns' time at Celtic, and that's the team that I really grew up watching, that was really my first Celtic team, is that although he never won a league title, I always felt that he came into the club and kind of, you talked about him setting standards and training there. It's like he raised the standards. Do you think Burns was needed as the springboard to go on and stop the 10 like he did under Janssen? Was he crucial to that, even though he wasn't quite there when you did get over the line?
Absolutely, I think he was crucial to the club changing. And at that time, he brought the feeling back to the club. He brought the fans back with a style of football that everybody wanted to see. You couldn't get seats for games. You couldn't get tickets back then. And it just started to grow and grow. And that was the biggest disappointment, that we never won the league with the gaffer. But I was delighted when he came back later on. When Martin first came in, he was still part of that and pre-season, but he'd still the same appetite, desire, and love for the club then.
Yeah, and then obviously after that you've got Wim Janssen comes in. He's the man who stops the 10. Obviously that's quite a topical thing at the moment with what's going on in the other side of things. But do you feel that having someone who wasn't Scottish and didn't have a Celtic connection prior to coming in was almost a blessing in that season? He maybe I don't want to say he didn't have the same pressure, but he maybe came and he didn't quite have the same Celtic baggage going into such a historical, you must win the title this season year?
Possibly. It was a strange time when we lost, when Tommy went and we started pre-season and Murdo McLeod took the first bits of pre-season over in Holland. Then this wee guy turned up with a shell suit on with a perm and who's this? Didn't know a lot about him, and he was very, very quiet, very methodical. Everything was to a whistle in his watch. Your training, if you go for one extreme with the gaffer with Tommy, to Vim, he was very relaxed, controlled. Even after matches, win or lose, he never had it out in the dressing room. He just kind of left it there, and you started thinking about your own performance on Saturday and Sunday, and come back in Monday, then go again. He was very, very calm, but I actually liked him. You never knew where you stood with him until he picked his team on a Saturday.
And was it? You mentioned it was just such a change from Tommy Burns. Was that a difficult transition? Was there doubts about Wim coming in? Was when you talk about how he arrived there, and there was kind of like, who's this guy? Was it? Because the team was fantastic that season. Was it difficult for him to get the dressing room on side and on the way to 10, or was it just the task at hand was so big in terms of stopping Rangers that the dressing room is galvanised already?
No, I think we evolved as the season went on. Certain things triggered, certain events. I think, as I said, Darren Jackson had a thing with his head.
Yeah.
One of the games, European games, we had the first Old Firm game was an incident with Tosh McKinley and Henrik, where Tosh and Henrik had a fallout, and Tosh put the head on him the day before the game, which is not the best thing to do. But a lot of things, Tommy Johnson got a bad injury. A lot of these things brought us all together, in a difficult time. It was a bad start. We lost the first two games. Myself personally, where I was judged on defending and attacking at right back, was Vim didn't want his full-backs getting forward. So after two games he changed it and he brought in there, and I again had to find myself a position further forward, right midfield, which I've done later on.
Yeah, so those were the good times, and don't worry, we'll come on to the Martin O'Neill good times as well. But it's fair to say, kind of between Wim Jansen and Martin O'Neill, it maybe wasn't quite as positive for Celtic. We had Dr. Joe Venglos, and then the duo of John Barnes and Kenny Dalglish as well. Just kind of grouping those together, why do you think that period didn't work out at the club?
I think Dr. Joe firstly was a lovely man, different. His English, understood little bits of it, but I think what Vim had said before he left, he knew a lot of us were going to have a long season, which stopped Rangers winning the 10. It was a massive season for us, but a lot of us went away to World Cup. Myself personally, I played probably about half of that season with an injury. I managed to play through it. There's a lot of the games, looking back at the games in '98, that I hadn't trained all week. I just had to just do a warm up on the Saturday, and I played through it.
Wow. So,
and I went to World Cup in '98 with the national team. Again, similar, going through this tendonitis with bone calcification. So I started the new season right away when we came back, and I broke down again. I had to have an operation. Came back too soon. There's a few instances like that with the players. The squad needed help. So I had two operations. The second operation came after New Year, and I was just coming back as the new manager, John Barnes, came in.
Do you want to take that bit, John?
Well, the John Barnes season is obviously infamous for what went down. What I always kind of took from that is that, I thought the season kind of started well under Barnes, and then it just kind of went off the rails. Did he never have the confidence of the dressing room, do you think? Do you think that there was just too many question marks, a rookie manager coming into the dressing room, especially after you'd had so much experience in the years before? Tommy Burns, Wim Jansen, Dr. Joe, all experienced guys who had been around in playing days and management. Was John Barnes just the wrong man at the wrong time?
Yeah, I think first of all, I'd found out that he was coming in through Alan McDonald when I was in London getting my second op. He'd just come out after operation, and he told me, and I was so excited. John Barnes was coming. I thought, this is going to be class. He was a fantastic footballer, and we're going to be total football. It's going to be great to be involved with. But I was kind of let down a little bit by it. I know he's done a lot of comments in the last few months about racism and different things. It was nothing for me. It was nothing to do with that. I think he had all the support that he needed, and Celtic fans will always support that. But personally, from the players' point of view, I felt he lost a few of us in pre-season.
Really?
Just the way he conducted himself, trying to communicate. We're in Norway, and a couple of us went for a coffee after lunch, and he came in, and he, I think maybe he thought one of the lads, Tommy Johnson, was having an alcoholic drink, which he wasn't. Right. And he went over and took a drink of his drink, sitting there. I'm just like, there's an element of trust there. Maybe that's what he done, but we weren't like that. We would drink or do something at the right times, but not like that. A new manager, and so with certain instances, then you'd obviously a fallout with certain individuals, like putting Craig Burley back in beside Paul Lambert. I mean, on paper, the team was, as you say, we started really well. We won away 6 Aberdeen. It was a 4-2-2-2 system. We're talking about going 2 up just now, and a 3-5-2, which was okay in certain games. We could go and dominate. We had Burley and Lambert sitting in front of the back 4. Then you had Moravcik and Berkovic. Then you had Viduka and Larsson, which on paper it was fantastic. Amazing, yeah. But again, in certain games where we get overran by fullbacks bombing on 2v1 because Berkovic or Lobo wouldn't chase back, and so you had 4 players at the game. And I think certain games we were exposed for that. And when Henrik broke his leg in Lyon, he was down chasing back like he does. He was down my area in front of me when he broke his leg in Lyon, and that was the biggest turning point, I think, for John Barnes. Losing Henrik, and he brought in Ian Wright, which obviously wasn't the same, wasn't at his peak, and the Inverness game was the writing on the wall. But it lost a lot of the players just by not communicating, well enough.
Yeah, fascinating. I could sit here and chat about former managers all the time. He obviously goes shortly after that Inverness game. Kenny Dalglish sees it to the end of the season, wins the League Cup, denying Rangers a treble, and then Martin O'Neill comes to the club. The story that I always hear about Martin O'Neill is that he wanted to use Rangers as the benchmark in the press when he came in. They're the team we have to aspire to be, but that he was telling you guys in the dressing room, we can win this league. How much is that the case?
Yeah, 100%. It was Martin was unbelievable in the dressing room. His team talks, that's his forte. You had John Robertson and Steve Walford to do the coaching. Fantastic guys, and the 3 of them worked so good together. But in the dressing room or dealing with the players, that was when Martin came alive. And it made you feel 10 feet tall going out to the games. I was talking to a few of the players in the last wee while about it. And his team talk before certain games like Blackburn, maybe the FA Cup final, or Liverpool, or the FA Cup final itself. You can't really remember what he said, but you just knew it was, just like, come on, let's go.
Like going to war.
Yeah, and he had an aura about him, Martin. Sometimes you think he was a wee bit aloof with the players or standoffish, or if one of the players was speaking to him, the gaffer's boy, soaking up with the gaffer. It was a strange kind of relationship, but he had the utmost respect for him.
Of all your managers, Jackie, does anyone stand out as giving you the best bit of advice in your career that kind of set you up or made you see a new perspective on the game or anything like that? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with this, but is there anything that really stands out as the prime bit of advice from one of your managers?
I think Tommy. I was lucky enough to have a go at management. Enjoyed wee bits of it at Partick Thistle and Dundee United, and something I used to obviously say to the players as well. And You know, treat every day like it's your last. Give everything you've got every day. You know, and the attitude, and that's, I'd like to think that's what I've done. You know, and when I struggled a little bit when Martin changed things and brought in a Gat in the right wing back, I still trained the same way, and he wasn't training every day, Martin. But Steve and John Robertson were, and they seen, you know, when I went to see Martin a few times about leaving, that wanting to play, and obviously he wouldn't let me go. He says, "No, you're in my plans." He says, "It's up to Steve and Robbo. You'd be playing every week, but I picked the team." But eventually, you know, I won him over and became his captain in the end before he left.
Yeah, just fascinating stuff. A question I had, just being a younger Celtic fan, so to speak. I think we've had maybe 4 or 5 managers since Martin O'Neill left and since you left the club. Is there any of them that you would really have liked to worked under? You know, Brendan Rodgers, Neil Lennon, or Strachan?
Oh. I don't know if I could work under Lenny. I've been in the dressing room for 5 or 6 years. But I think he's done well. Again, I see a lot of traits in Lenny, like Martin's very, you know, he'll copy, and I think that's what you do. You take things from everybody, and I like to think, you know, it's not just one manager. I've used certain bits from not even saying anything after a game when you want to go crazy, like Vim. You know, just keep it calm and let the players assess what they've actually, you know, do it collectively. So there's little bits there you take. Strachan, obviously, I wanted to still be there when Gordon came in. But he wanted his own guys in, unfortunately. Brendan, I think Brendan was very much, for what I see, a training ground manager, coach, and it would be interesting to have worked alongside him and see how he ticks. Very clever. Ronnie, I came up against Ronnie, you know, when I was manager at Dundee United, but I don't think I would like to have played under him.
Well, wow. I think if you go from Tommy Burns and Martin O'Neill, you know, there's no going back from there. They're 2 of the best that we've ever had. So it's a joy to talk to you about management. I could extend this video for another hour, Hamish. We might need to go into a deep dive in some of these managers in future and dedicate a whole video to them, because I'm sure there's plenty of stories and little bits and pieces that fans are picking up, and I've picked up even just in this video. So fantastic. What are your thoughts on that, Hamish?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's so much I could talk about. The UEFA Cup run immediately is one that I'm thinking. I want to hear the juicy stories behind the Martin O'Neill team talks and all that kind of thing. If you can remember, of course, Jackie, because I know what it's like. Thanks very much for coming on, Jackie. We appreciate it. Really good stories. John, thanks very much as well. And if you've not yet subscribed to the 67 Hail Hail channel, we really would appreciate you doing that. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we've got loads more coming in the coming days. Until then, take care and Hail Hail.